Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the Hot Moving Podcast, and today we're going to talk about the potential sale of the Washington Commanders. And before we get started, please do me a huge favor, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So let's get moving. Okay, so it's no big news or surprise that Daniel Snyder, the owner of the Washington Commanders, has been in the spotlight, and his organization has been under scrutiny for workplace misconduct for many years. The NFL has done an investigation, they've done internal investigations, and it's not good. Dan Snyder just hasn't really done a good job of running this football club, and he finds himself in some serious hot water, and now he wants to sell the team. The Commanders are worth somewhere around close to $5 billion. I think I saw in Forbes they're about $4.78 billion. When the bidding begins, I'm sure that number is going to be much higher. These NFL franchises are extremely valuable, so they don't stay on the market for too long. Okay, so now that this team is going to be possibly for sale, it brings up an interesting point on who should be the group to buy this football team. And I want you guys to hear what Stephen A. had to say about this.
And I'm talking about a majority owner of a National Football League franchise that happens to be a black person. That would be nice. One of the things that we have discussed and lamented throughout recent history is the lack of representation, the lack of diversity when it comes to the ownership group. Maybe if there were black owners, more issues would be addressed more poignantly, more transparency would exist. Obviously, more coaches would be of African American descent and beyond. And so I think I look at this as an opportunity to ingratiate an African American into the proceedings. You have a guy like Jay-Z with Beyonce, and Lord knows how much money they're worth. You're talking about groups of individuals that could coalesce and come together and really collaborate and combine their resources.
Okay, so I like Stephen A., right? I do. He's definitely always trying to, champion causes for black people and want black people to have inclusion in certain businesses and in certain ventures where we're not represented, right? All fine and dandy. And that, not just for black people, but that's like for any group that's small, marginalized, or doesn't have representation in any type of business sector. It's always nice to have that type of diversity and representation, and if they have the means, should have a fair shot at participating in whatever business that they want to partake in, regardless if they are the minority or the majority. I think that they should have a fair shot to pursue that business, right? But this is different though, because I understand that having black ownership in the NFL will be huge. It'll be another great milestone for our community. Another checkbox, another win for us. And it'll just be monumental, right? And what better place than to have black ownership in DC, especially in the DMV area. I'm from the East Coast, so I understand the people out there, they really love their football teams. They love their Ravens, they love their Washington Commanders. But I mean, I just don't think that this team should be the team that we should pursue, right? I mean, this team is going through a lot of legal situations right now. I mean, we're essentially trying to, you're selling a dirty home that needs a lot of cleaning up. Yes, I know it's an NFL franchise. I know they're hard to come by, but I just don't think that this is the opportunity for us to try to really pursue this, right? And he talks about mentioning of Jay-Z and Beyonce and possibly other wealthy people, billionaires, to put their money together and to try to purchase this team. But I mean, he's making the mistake of thinking that we're going to want to collaborate like that, right? He's making the assumption that we would want to do business with other black people to purchase this team that's already a mess. I'm not talking about on the field. I mean, the team currently is above. They're about 4-4. They're doing pretty well, all things considered, with all the noise surrounding them. But in terms of just not just the product on the field, but just overall the front office, everything, right? And then he's making the assumption as if, Stephen A's smart, so I'm gonna give him credit, but he really didn't bring this up. It's like, what makes you think that these NFL owners who are predominantly white, okay, or Caucasian, I'm gonna be respectful, okay, and I think there's like one minority owner out in Jacksonville, but I mean, he's making the assumption that even if you are able to collaborate and get this NFL team, that we're gonna be ingratiated into the good old boys club right away, right? I mean, listen, these owners are, some of them come from old money. They've been rich for a very long time. They've owned these teams for a very long time. Or if they haven't owned a team and recently owned a team, they know buddies that's on the team and kind of showing the ropes and how to get things done, right? I mean, what makes you think that we're going to be able to get that type of knowledge, that type of institutional knowledge off rip to assist us, right? I just don't think that, I don't think that we would be able to efficiently put our money together with some of the black billionaires to actually own the team, right? And I get it, right? It sounds good, like, yeah, let's, this is our opportunity to get black people to own an NFL team, but I think it's more than that. It's we got to play. If we're gonna do something like this, we have to play the long game here, right? We got to think long term. We got to think of the longevity and the health of this franchise if we were to put our resources together. And I don't think that, outside of someone like a Michael Jordan, I mean, even Michael Jordan, who's owning the Charlotte Hornets right now, I mean, he's struggling to put a winning product on the court, and Michael Jordan is damn near the institution of Nike. I mean, he, definitely put Nike on the map and has definitely earned his value, and and the NBA makes sense too, right? I mean, Michael Jordan played in the league. He was such a dominant player, and he's a brand in himself. He's a walking billionaire, a walking money-making machine, literally. So yeah, it makes sense for him to try to own an NBA team, even though he's really not doing that great, but it makes sense in that realm. The NFL is a whole different animal. NFL makes way more money than the NBA. The TV deals, the network ratings, all those things, factor in. And I just don't think that as a community, are we going to be really equipped to purchase a franchise and sustain it the right way and really have the type of cultural impact and change that it may have, right? Stephen A's in the mindset thinking like, hey, we own an NFL team, we're going to be in these circles, in these rooms, and it'll be great for us to get our messages out when there's player issues, stuff like that. I mean, still, we're okay, fine, we own an NFL team, but we're still the minority, right? I just don't think that this purchasing this team is the start that we need to take, right? I think that we should have more minority ownership or more black owners or whatever minorities in the NBA, and focus on that league, right? Until we start to see more diversity within hiring general managers, hiring more black coaches, minority coaches, because I know it has. I feel like it has to start from the bottom up, not the top down. And yeah, I just think that the Commanders are just in disarray. And it's like, why should our first team, be this mess? So no, I definitely don't agree with Stephen A. I understand what he's saying. I agree with that in terms of like the essence of what he's saying. But as far as should we pounce on this opportunity to buy this team, I think we should stay away from this team and wait for a better opportunity, or wait in the future if there's a potential expansion team, right? And maybe we could put our money in and bid for that. I think that way it's a clean slate, it's a fresh start. You don't have the shadow of Dan Snyder and all the problems that happen in that organization. And if anything goes wrong, it's like, see, even you guys can't handle it. Dan, we knew we couldn't handle it. It was a problem, and you guys are still, messing up and stuff like that. It casts such a dark shadow that I think we don't really need that. But yeah, just my thoughts on that. So anyway, guys, please like, subscribe. Thanks for listening. I'm out.